In 2020, human boxers were replaced with robots. Traditional boxing matches lost their relevance due to a lack of violence. What is popular now is gladiator fights featuring human-controlled robots. Former boxer Charlie Kenton travels across the country, taking part in robot boxing, but suffers one defeat after the other. One time after a busy night, Charlie wakes up in his van surrounded by empty beer bottles. He gets a call from a man who asks him about the $30,000 debt he owes him. Charlie calls the debt collector the wrong name, and the debt collector realizes that he isn't the only one Charlie owes money to. Charlie pretends to have connection issues and hangs up. Later, 3 girls come up to the van and ask Charlie to show them Ambush, the famous fighting robot. One of the girls takes out a camera to take a picture of the robot, but Charlie asks her to pay $5 for a picture. The girls decide that an old piece of metal is not worth it and leave. At the fair, Charlie meets his old friend Ricky, who is also the manager of the arena. He promised to pay Charlie $3,000 if Ambush takes part in a fight against one of his bulls. However, the deal involved a bull weighing 800 pounds, but it turned out that Ambush's opponent weighed twice as much as him. Charlie decides to go all in and offers Ricky a bet of $20,000 if he wins the fight. Ricky agrees to the bet, but warns of the dire consequences for Charlie if he loses again and doesn't pay off the debt. The fight begins. At first, everything is going well, and Ambush easily dodges the bull's blows. But Charlie gets too carried away interacting with the public and fails to notice the enraged bull rushing towards Ambush from behind. The bull crashes into Ambush and takes his leg with it. Charlie asks Ricky to stop the fight, but he ignores Charlie and watches him lose. In the end, Ambush turns into a useless heap of metal that children take apart for souvenirs. Having bet money he didn't have with Ricky that Ambush would win, Charlie absconds before Ricky can collect. He is followed by 2 men and hits one of them, thinking that they were going to demand money from him. However, the strangers inform Charlie about the tragic news. His ex-wife has died, leaving their 11-year-old son Max. He must attend a hearing deciding the future of their son, Max, whom he had no contact with Charlie since his birth. Charlie is not very concerned about his son's fate, and he goes to court to sign the parental waiver of custodian rights. Max's maternal aunt Deborah and her husband Marvin want full custody. Charlie bargains to cede custody of Max for a large sum of $100,000, and Marvin negotiates that Charlie retains custody of Max for 3 months while Marvin and Deborah go on vacation. Charlie is paid a deposit of $50,000, and using the money, he buys Noisy Boy, one of the best robots with voice control, on the black market. Charlie returns to the gym where he lives together with Bailey Tallet, the daughter of his deceased coach. Bailey scolds him for making an expensive purchase when he owes her money for rent. He tries to seduce her, but she reminds him that she needs the money to pay bills. That day, Deborah and Marvin bring Max in. Max is upset, not because his father sold him, but because he didn't share the proceeds. Charlie says that he used all the money to buy the robot and that if Max doesn't like it, then he can leave. Max decides to stay and watch the Noisy Boy unboxing. Charlie decides to test voice controls and says a few battle commands, but the robot doesn't respond. Charlie concludes that he was scammed and blames Bailey for not inspecting the robot. Max, who's way smarter than the adults, gives the commands in Japanese after figuring out that it is the native language of the robot. Noisy Boy obeys, and Bailey realizes that they only need to change his voice control settings. After a short test drive, Charlie loads the robot into his van and plans on going to the next competition. Max steals the car keys and asks his father to take him along, or else he won't return the keys. Reluctantly, Charlie agrees, and they arrive at an underground fight club where they meet dozens of other robots. Charlie is certain that this time he will win for sure, so he asks the organizer Finn to sign Noisy Boy up for the main fight. Max warns his father and advises him to take part only in warm-ups since he has never tested the robot on an actual battlefield. But Charlie doesn't pay attention to him and makes Noisy Boy fight against Midas, who is the star of the fight club. In the beginning, Noisy Boy inflicts powerful blows on his opponent, and the audience is excited. Noisy Boy dominates the battlefield, and Charlie is thrilled because he is about to get the easiest money in his life. Once again, he loses focus and misses Midas's hit, making Mida take control of the battle. Charlie tries to figure out what commands Noisy Boy has and yells out random commands, but nothing works. Midas knocks Noisy Boy down, striking his head off. After the fight, only the voice control of the robot survived. Max scolds his father for fighting against the champion without even learning the standard commands for Noisy Boy. Charlie doesn't want to take the blame and tells Max to shut up or he'll let him spend the night out in the street. On their way home, they stop at the junkyard to look for parts for a new robot. While scavenging for replacements, Charlie tells Max a story of how the boxing robots came about and how they replaced humans in the ring. Listening to his father, Max doesn't notice a cliff and falls. Max hangs on a robot's hand, which saves him from getting hurt. Charlie goes down the cliff to his son and puts him back on the ground, tightly holding a frightened Max. Max gets out of his arms to see the part that saved his life. To his surprise, he finds an obsolete, dilapidated but mostly intact sparring robot in the dirt. Max asks his dad to bring the cart so they can take the robot home, but Charlie refuses to help him. Max drags the robot till dawn, all by himself, going up the steep hill. Finally, he brings him to the van. They go back to the gym, where Bailey is shocked to see what is left of Noisy Boy. She is disappointed in Charlie and asks him to stop chasing an imaginary victory, or else he'll lose everything that he has left in reality. Charlie persuades Bailey to help him for the last time and check the robot that Max brought. It turns out that it is an outdated version of the robot that was created not for fighting, but as a sparring partner. It can't attack, but is designed to withstand severe damage, with a rare shadow function to mirror and memorize handler or opponent movements. Max cleans the robot and notices that its name is Atom. He suggests testing the robot in illegal robot fights to make some money. At night, while everyone is asleep, Max sneaks into the gym and turns Atom on. Together, they go on a late-night walk, where Max learns to control his first ever robot. In the morning, Max decides to ask Bailey about what his father used to be like. Bailey enthusiastically tells him about Charlie's boxing career, about how he always fought till the end and didn't give up even against the strongest opponents. With the advent of the era of robots, no one needed his fighting skills anymore, and he couldn't become a champion. Charlie interrupts the conversation and informs Bailey that he is leaving with Max for Atlanta to find a partner who will buy the new robot. They arrive in Atlanta, and Charlie asks Max to wait in the lobby while he goes to look for Finn. There, Max meets Tak Mashido, the creator of Zeus, the invincible robot champion. Mashido assures reporters that Zeus will destroy anyone who fights against him on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Charlie asks Finn to lend him money for their old friendship's sake, but Finn refuses to bet on him. Frustrated and angry, he allows Max to take part in a fight at the zoo, just so that Max will lose and leave him alone. The next day, Charlie is woken up by Max's voice, as he has been training with Atom since morning. He cleaned the robot and programmed the commands himself using the shadow feature. Charlie is pleasantly surprised by his son's persistence, knowing deep down where he got this quality from. They later arrive at the battlefield, and Max negotiates a deal with the owner. If Atom lasts one round, then Max takes $1,000. However, if Atom doesn't survive, the owner takes him. The fight begins, and Max takes control of Atom. Atom doesn't attack, but only defends itself, steadily taking the blows of the enemy. Charlie advises his son to move more to maneuver the robot's attacks, but the opponent grabs Atom and strikes him in the head, causing him to fall. The countdown to the end of the round begins, and Atom has only 30 seconds to get up. Max orders Atom to get up, and he obeys, which means he automatically wins $1,000. The owner doesn't agree with this outcome and offers to double the winnings if Atom lasts one more round. Now it is Charlie who is trying to talk his son out of this risky venture, but Max doesn't back down. The second round begins, and Atom jumps and strikes his opponent with a crushing blow, causing its system to crash. Max wins and proudly takes his prize, and the crowd cheers him. The next day, Max continues training with Atom and tries to teach him new commands. When Max gets bored, he decides to dance with Atom, as Atom copies all his movements. Charlie approaches them, and Max tells his father that he installed Noisy Boy's voice control on Atom, so now they don't need a control panel. He asks his father to teach Atom his boxing style through the shadow feature. Charlie is initially reluctant and advises Max to make the dance Atom's unique feature in the ring. Max agrees to dance under one condition: only if his father teaches Atom how to box. This is where their partnership began. Charlie teaches Atom combat techniques from morning to night, and Max begins each of their fights with a dance. This results in a series of victories, and the two are getting closer and closer. After earning money from small-town fights, Charlie sends part of the winnings to Bailey to pay off his debt with interest. The dancing robot quickly wins the heart of the audience, to the point where he is featured in the news. This culminates in Charlie being offered a world robot boxing fight with Atom against the national champion robot Twin Cities in the Real Steel Champions League tournament. While Max is setting up Atom, a manager enters their workshop and invites them to the lodge of Farah Lemkova, the owner of Zeus. The businesswoman is looking for a sparring partner for Zeus and offers to buy Atom for $200,000. The offer is valid until the first round with Twin Cities. Charlie immediately agrees, but Max refuses and leaves the room. Charlie tries to persuade Max to accept the deal, but Max asks his father to think about why Lemkova would want to buy a robot for such a large amount of money. Max believes that Atom is special and doesn't intend to sell him. Next, the crowd roars when the two-headed robot Twin Cities enters the ring. Max leads Atom out by performing a battle dance. The robots start the fight, and Twin Cities mercilessly attacks Atom, preventing him from striking back. Charlie then notices Twin Cities' weak point. His right shoulder twitches before every punch. He exploits this by letting Atom dive under the opponent's arm and begins to punch Twin Cities. After weakening Twin Cities' right side, Atom knocks him out with a punch to the head. The audience goes wild cheering. Bailey, who has been watching the fight, also screams with joy. Max runs into the ring and snatches the microphone from the referee. He publicly challenges the undefeated global champion robot Zeus to a fight. After that, he and his father take the winnings and go to the van. Ricky and two henchmen attack Charlie for bailing earlier and rob him and Max of their winnings. Worried about his son, Charlie returns Max to Deborah to keep him safe. With tears in his eyes, Max begs his father to let him stay with him, but Charlie doesn't want to risk it anymore. Max gets upset and leaves to pack, and Charlie refuses to take the other half of the money for the sale of custody. Charlie tries to persuade Max to leave with his relatives and says that he doesn't consider himself worthy of Max. Max reveals that all he wanted was for Charlie to fight for him and be there as a father. On his way home, Charlie remembers the time he has spent with Max. He goes to Bailey and lies down next to her. In the morning, Bailey convinces Charlie not to leave his son and tells him that it is not too late for them to improve their relationship and correct the mistakes of the past. They kiss, and Charlie goes to get Max. He tells his son that he regrets not being around all these years. Charlie asks for another chance and promises to fight for him this time. He then moves away, and Max sees Atom. Charlie says that Zeus accepted his challenge and persuades Deborah to let Max go to the tournament. Champions League hosts reveal that Tak Mashido called yesterday's fight with the old robot Atom an insult to his creation. This announcement caused a PR nightmare for the Zeus team, so they had to take on the challenge. Charlie and Max arrive at the tournament along with Atom. Finn takes bets that the junkyard robot won't last until the end of the round at odds of 1 to 5. Ricky approaches him and confidently bets $100,000 that Atom won't last until the end of the first round. If his bet goes well, then at the end of the match, he will get $500,000. A welcome show is put on for Zeus, where he epically jumps into the ring, causing the crowd to go wild. Atom, the underdog, appears more modestly, and the fight begins. Zeus knocks out Atom with the first blow, and now everyone thinks that Zeus's victory will be quick. Atom gets up, but immediately gets punched over and over till he falls again. After the third knockdown, Atom gets up again, and Zeus corners him. Finally, Charlie pulls himself together and strikes Zeus, and then backs away. To everyone's shock, Atom takes the lead in the fight and delivers blow after blow to Zeus. Atom manages to survive the first round, stunning the audience. Ricky, who bet with Finn on Atom losing within the first round, tries to leave, but is cornered by Finn and his fight bookmakers. The fight continues, and Atom manages to heroically survive the second and third rounds. Late in the fourth round, Atom's voice response controls are damaged when Zeus unleashes all his power. Despite this, Atom manages to hold out until the end of the round, but now his chances of winning are almost zero. Max advises his father to control Atom through the shadow feature. He notices that Lemkova and Mashido are starting to get nervous, fearing the old robot's hidden abilities. Charlie follows Max's advice and accepts to use the shadow feature, but first, he gives Atom a motivational speech. In the fifth and final round, Atom wards off Zeus long enough to deplete its power core, at which point Charlie directs Atom to begin its counterattack against an exhausted Zeus. With Zeus's programmers unable to compensate, the designer, Tak Mashido, intervenes and controls Zeus manually. Atom gives Zeus a beating, delivers a powerful uppercut to Zeus' head, and knocks him down. Zeus gets to his feet, but Charlie attacks him again, testing all his fighting techniques on him. Zeus is saved from complete defeat by the sound of a gong, announcing that the battle has come to an end. The audience cheers and chants Atom's name. Bailey runs to the stage and kisses Charlie. Nevertheless, Zeus wins by decision and remains undefeated, but Mashido's group is left humiliated by the near loss and Zeus being critically damaged. Despite the match result, Atom is triumphantly labeled the People's Champion by the cheering crowd as Max and Charlie celebrate. Max and Charlie embrace, and Charlie is proud of his son. The movie ends with Max, Charlie, and Atom enjoying their win. Thank you so much for watching. Please take a second to like the video. Goodbye.